Views and opinions of any of the guests of After Hours AM are not necessarily the views and opinions of After Hours AM, its hosts, its staff, or any of its affiliates.
Welcome to the After Hours program.
Are you ready?
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Now broadcasting live from the After Hours AM studio, Joel Sturgis and Eric Olson.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this edition of After Hours AM. And like our lead-in song said, trouble. That's right, because we have Greg Bakun back with us. If I could talk tonight, I don't know why I want to put that M on there. I don't know what my problem is, but I will get that. And last night we had a great time with Dr. Clarissa Cole. We talked to Pete Klismic last night, and we talked all about serial killers. He was like one of the very first profilers ever to do that work, and I was a little freaked out, Greg. I don't know about you. I don't know if I could do that kind of work.
Yeah, it was. There's a lot to it, and I'm just thinking of all the detail that he has to keep track of, and I barely remember to get dressed before I leave my house, so yeah. I don't know if I could be a good profiler, to be very honest.
I'd be a horrible profiler. I really would. I just, I'd probably, what I'd do is really mail in everything. I'll be like, yeah, that's what he is. Yeah, he's white and he's probably fat. And I'd walk out, describe 90% of the American population.
I was going to say, then they arrest me. So that's not fair.
Exactly. Yeah, and then I'd be in cuffs as well right along with it. So we'd really be hurting ourselves.
I'm more of a whistleblower, to be honest, Joel. I'm more of a whistleblower than a profiler, I think.
Are you? So you're big in the whistleblowing part of it.
I haven't done anything, to be honest, but I think that maybe if I were to be on the side of the law that did that sort of thing, I think whistleblowing might be easiest. Anonymous whistleblowing.
Oh, okay. You don't want to be the saying where it says snitches get stitches.
I don't want to end up in the bottom of the Mississippi River with some cement shoes on either.
No, you don't want to do that because, like we discussed, you'd have Big Vito or from The Simpsons show up. So
the return of Fat Leonard.
Yeah, Fat Leonard would show up and go, so you decided you're going to talk, eh? Well, I hope you enjoy swimming in the mackerel.
I got some new shoes for you, Greg.
Just hold still for 8 to 10 hours while it cures. And then you're going to go for a little swim. I'm right there with you, though. I'd rather be the whistleblower. And, I don't know that I'd want to deal with serial killers on a daily basis like Dr. Cole does or Pete. I just, ignorance is bliss, and I love being ignorant.
Yeah, I don't know if Dr. Cole, if she has like just a teddy bear around that you just hug after you listen to everything that she has to deal with and people she talked to,
In full honesty, we were profiling Ed Gein one night on the show.
Oh, yeah.
And we are getting deep into that story about Eddie Gein. And at the end, she is such a pragmatic, good-hearted person, really the facts, but yet she still has a heart. Mm-hmm. At the end, she says, well, Ed Gein wasn't really that bad of a guy because he was mentally ill. I ran with that. Like, really? You love Eddie Gein? Oh, my God. For the next month, I was like, yep. Eddie Gein's a hell of a guy. You heard it from her. But, she was making an argument for why he was mentally ill and not a serial killer, in her opinion. He was actually suffering from mental illness rather than being a full-blown serial killer. He was more of the mama's boy gone awry kind of thing going on. And so, again, we had such a great night. If you haven't heard that show, number one, shame on you. Seriously, shame on you. Number two,
absolutely,
you can download it over iHeartRadio, Podomatic. Paranormal A carries us all the way up in Canada as well. They're a powerhouse download place, a download station for all cool paranormal things up there. Check them out. And, of course, we are broadcasting live tonight. iHeartRadio, IRN, got to say hi to them. And we are also over Dark Matter Radio, as well as several other places, and UPRN 107.7 New Orleans. So we're everywhere worldwide, but one thing we didn't get to touch on last night, and I really wanted to save it for tonight. Now, Greg, you did really well at the true crime, and you were right at home, but what maybe some of the audience doesn't know that you're extremely well-versed in the paranormal.
Yeah,
I'm
a little paranormal boy.
You are. You're a little on the paranormal side, but you do a really successful web series that I think people after the show should check out, and that's Minnesota Ghost Box.
Yeah,
and
it's a little. Yeah, go ahead.
I've been watching that thing, man, like it's free, because it is, folks. It's free, so go check it out. I have been watching that thing like you wouldn't believe, because, number one, I am really fascinated, of course, by the paranormal, because I host a paranormal show. Mm-hmm. But I'm also really, really fascinated by sound, because I'm a sound engineer by trade. I'm a radio guy, so everything relates back to sound for me. And how you guys are getting such responses out of essentially a broken radio. If you were to ask anybody, well, that radio is broken, it keeps on going through the dial.
Yep.
How you guys are getting such intelligent responses and timely responses, it boggles my mind. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that I've been completely enamored with since for the longest time. I mean, everything paranormal has always interested me. But then when I started to see more and more about a spirit box, I was immediately taken by it. And I think that's because it was so immediate that you could get responses from this device, which is basically, like you said, it's a radio that rapidly scans through those frequencies. And from there, it's believed that spirits will be able to communicate with us. And, right away, people are going to be like, well, it's just the radio. It's just going through those stations, and you're just getting stuff back. But the thing is, it scans so quickly that it will actually, it's impossible to get any of that radio on there, depending on what type of spirit box you use. Mm-hmm. And when you start getting words with multiple syllables or intelligent responses to your questions, that's when it becomes fun.
And that's something I don't think a lot of people appreciate about it, is the speed of which this cycles through the bands. It's not like it's locking in on the radio station. It's not stopping for a brief second so you can hear a little bit of the Smashing Pumpkins song or this or that. It really floats through, and it's using the static as a medium for the spirit to communicate.
It is, and that's an interesting point too about the spirit box, is that there's in the whole ITC community, there's this whole debate going on. A lot of people can pick up a spirit box that's it's mass manufactured. There's a couple of ones in SB7, one's SB11, and then there's those people who take old radios from, say, like the 1990s, something that has a digital tuner to it, be able to modify it. It bypasses to be able to stop at stations, and there's people who are diehard fans of those. I fall somewhere in the middle personally, and I actually tend to use the mass manufactured one a little bit more, because you brought up the whole idea of the white noise. A lot of people get tired and they say, I get a headache from the white noise, but to me, those responses, they actually float above what is what that white noise is. And to me, it's a lot easier to hear those responses. And I think we get some pretty good ones.
You do, and we're going to be playing those during the breaks. We got a couple of them to play, and of course, you're going to want to listen to the end of the break and before the bumper music kicks in. And we're going to be playing some of that evidence, and it really, it blows me away because the question's asked, and then it's clearly answered. And It's not like an average question like, who's the President of the United States of America? Where you might hear it on a talk radio going through, because that was the thing. I was experimenting with years ago it was a really slow model. It was a Radio Shack hack is what they used to call them. Mm-hmm. And at the time, Brett Favre happened to be our quarterback. And so I asked, well, who's the quarterback for Minnesota Vikings? And every sports talk radio, it would not be uncommon to hear his name brought up in conversation. Because this particular one that I modified was not able to move as fast as like the SB7. Yeah. It had a tendency to want to lock into words. And that was the problem I was having. Now, the first time I ever saw SB7, I thought to myself, wow, you got broken radio. Give that to me. I'll go home. I'll fix this for you. No, don't do that. Don't do that. I bought it that way. Well, you brought because I didn't know what it was at the time. I said, really? You paid for a broken radio? Well, give it to me. I'll fix it. No, don't do that to me. I paid a lot of money for that. But as I've never been successful, I'll be honest. See, I'm an EVP guy. I'm the old traditional, generally an analog source, cassette. And what I will do is I'll do what everybody has done. And, you go out there, your cassette, it's analog, and you go home and you go through hours of, audio. And to the point to where you're sleepy, you're tired. You don't want to listen to any more white noise. You're like, oh my God, I've got hours of this to go yet. And you're waiting for that one nugget. It does come. Where it seems like the Ghost Box gives you that instant gratification where there is no waiting. There is no waiting to get home, to go through it. And then hopefully you can isolate it and you do this. And it doesn't really open itself up to manipulation like something that's caught after the fact.
Yeah, and the thing too that you brought up about the whole Brett Favre thing, it's field really don't appreciate when like a big celebrity dies and right away everyone takes out their spirit box like we're going to communicate with them. And it's like beyond the respect level of letting a spirit go into their next adventure, so to speak. There's also the idea of you're going to do a spirit box session and say that you're using a hack or something else. And when Prince died last year, what that name's going to be all over the place. That name's going to be everywhere. So it's like, oh my gosh, we got Prince's name on the spirit box. It's like, or you got a news update about a massively famous person who had passed away. And especially if you're doing it in Minnesota, that's going to even be worse.
Well,
that's going to be worse.
I mean, for our state here in Minnesota, I mean, I actually met Prince at a few different times, and he was a hometown guy.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it wasn't uncommon to see him downtown shopping. Yeah, I mean, he was very much ingrained in that community and in Minnesota as a whole. He loved the state. So he was actually very accessible to people that lived here. Yeah, I mean, if you saw him, he would actually talk to you.
Yeah.
And so I don't know did you ever run into him out and about, Greg? Because you are from that area.
I did not. I had a couple near run-ins where I was contracted because I work in production, and back in '99 I was contracted to actually do video, shoot his live special that was done at Paisley Park. But then I got the worst flu I ever had in my life, and I had to back out. And it's funny because currently I work in downtown Minneapolis, and I'm about a block away from First Ave, but the building we were in was the building that Glam Slam used to be in, and so that was at the bottom level. But then the floor that I work in was the floor of his private penthouse at the time on the 12th floor.
Now, was there any murmuring after he died about that location maybe having some hauntings from Prince?
Well, I don't know about Prince. I've never, but I have investigated that place a number of times because it was built in 1916, and that's that's the first place I ever did a spirit box session. Funny enough, in the basement. People don't want to go down in the basement, and there isn't really a reason why not to go down there. In my opinion, it's not a nasty place or anything like that, but it's dark. It has big boilers that look like that you burn children in. It's a very frightening place.
You see a guy down there with a smock and a plunger putting children in there. Get in there, little Johnny! Get in there!
That's where Freddy Krueger made children's nightmares, and so I guess I know why people don't want to go down there now that I say it out loud.
Well, now that you think about it, wait a second. That was scary as hell down there. What the hell was I thinking?
Yeah, I don't ever want to go down there again now that I'm saying this out loud.
I was by myself.
This is ridiculous.
Were you by yourself, or did you have a group with you?
It was just my friend Jeff and I, and him and I were both into the paranormal stuff, and we're just like, well, I've always wanted to try a spirit box, and he doesn't work in Minneapolis. He works for the same company that I do, but he actually works out somewhere else. So he was actually in town. Like, well, let's do this. Let's go down. This is where I was getting the whole web series bug in me. Like I had this idea that that maybe I could do this and get it out there. And so him and I went down there and we shot it, and we got a lot of great evidence. For the first time doing it, it was pretty incredible. And then word got around at work, and this is at the time. Their feelings have changed a lot since then, but word got around at work that we were doing this, and people were actually getting frightened. They're like, well, I don't want to know
down
that
there. Yeah. What are you doing down there with that broken radio? You know, that kind
we were getting responses up in our area too. We went down to the basement, then we were staying there overnight, and then we'd go back to where we worked, and we were in like meeting rooms and stuff, just running the spirit box, and then getting amazing responses there, and people like, whoa, no, that's not what we want.
The paranormal freaks a lot of people out that aren't really open to it, and they have to force themselves to be somewhat open to it. Like if you give them evidence that they can't refute, it's almost as if some of them, not all of them, because there are a lot of open-minded people, but some people go into like a brain overload meltdown all at the same time because their whole way of thinking of how life and how the afterlife has just been shaken in some way. And I'm sure you've encountered that over the years.
Absolutely. And, the thing, too, is that, as you encountered, too, and we talked about this a little last night after the show, is the idea that paranormal immediately means scary. Mm-hmm. And regardless of what the message is that the spirits are trying to tell you, that just that act of it is very frightening. Yeah. And I do know even, and I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, my sister, my dad passed away, it's going to be 2 years ago, and I believe I've had encounters with him, and she hasn't, but she's like, he knows that if he does that to me, he's going to give me a heart attack. And even if it's something good like that, I think people may still be a little apprehensive about it, which I understand. Just to follow up, though, where I work now, is the whole idea of what I do has changed rapidly. I actually did a presentation at work about what Minnesota Ghost Box is, what we're doing, all this stuff. Next thing you know, a day doesn't go by at work where somebody either finds out that I do this, or that they're just like, hey, what's going on? Have you done any cool investigations lately? Yeah. How's the web series? What's going on?
Yeah, that is really cool that they embrace it. I mean,
they do.
It's been embraced where there's a lot of times it's the other way. That crazy dude over there with his ghost box and running around and doing. And I'm glad they embrace it. I think it's. In a lot of ways, we can thank paranormal media, the pioneers of paranormal media like ghost centers and stuff, for making it more mainstream. Yeah. Making it more acceptable to talk about this topic without people rolling their eyes or running away or thinking you're right for the nut house. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's helped it. That's helped the paranormal, of course, to get out there in the community and worldwide. But it's also been a double-edged sword. Like I've talked to other people and a lot of people like us that are more of the. I kind of put myself in the paranormal purist category because I enjoy where we came from. I enjoy the science behind it. What's making this machine chug? What's making this afterlife work? Because quite honestly, I'm kind of worried that once we're dead, it's done. It's like a candle in the wind, man. We're blown out, and there's nothing left. And I think that's everybody's fear. Is there more after this? And for me, it validates that there is, because I don't care about great evidence or doing this or doing that personally. I care about validation for myself to know that oh God, when I go, is this it? And I think a lot of people are in that same boat. They're looking for that validation, but they're too afraid of the answer.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think I don't know. It's a really interesting thing that whether or not people, if it helps people believe in that there's more to life beyond death with their experience of the paranormal. I mean, it's always fun to be open to everything too. It's like, if you're speaking to somebody in the spirit box and you get an intelligent response, what if somebody in some other time is hearing the question, they just answer, and that's what you're getting in the spirit box? I'm not saying that that's what it is, but the whole idea of that, it could be anything too.
Well, sure. I mean, I've often toted the idea that, when we see an entity, an apparition, a ghost, does he nudge his buddy and go, "Oh my God, I just saw a ghost," so he sees you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is there some type of dimensional shift that maybe we're just looking at a different dimension at the same time? That maybe we're actually getting close to that veil, that different frequencies? Because I do believe through research and talking to people about how dimensions work, they seem to be frequency-oriented dimensions.
Yeah.
So is there a possibility that frequency is somewhere in that spirit box? Is there a possibility that frequency is reaching into that next dimension?
Why not? I mean, and that's the thing, is like we don't know, right? But I mean, I think once you start doing, like, having opinions, and that you cannot shift your opinion, that you can't be open to different opinions, then I think that's a problem. I think that's when, in my opinion, that's when it's game over in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because then it becomes closed-minded.
Yeah.
That's the last thing the paranormal is or should be, is closed-minded. But I have noticed a bit of a closed-minded pushback that this is how the paranormal is, and this is how we saw it done. This is how it's done. Where I always encourage people when I talk to them, hey, man, you know what? Invent things, do things, experiment. You just never know. You might be the holder of that key that will blow this whole thing wide open. Don't listen.
Absolutely.
Don't listen to guys that will tell you otherwise. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to walk all over you, but I just did. Sorry about that, Greg.
Well, you know what the problem is that you and I are so passionate about it. We just want to keep talking about it, right? We just want to, because there's so much to talk about with it.
Well, there really is.
And when you talk about you're talking about building stuff. I work with, we have been very fortunate to work with other paranormal teams, and one that I just immediately think of is my friend Ryan with the group Things That Go Bump Minnesota.
Sure.
And what they do is he has made stuff, that isn't available. He tries different things that he just wants to put stuff together because he wants to try different ways of investigating. He's always curious about different ways of investigating. And with him and John, it's like they push the field forward. And I love talking to people who are trying to push the boundaries of the field, because we do get complacent after a while.
Exactly. I totally agree with you, and I have seen, over the years, like you, have seen this field of the paranormal grow and shrink, grow and shrink, grow and shrink. I think for once now we're at such a critical mass, it's not going to shrink away, and it's not going to go back in the closet.
No.
And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, that people are still able to have passion and talk about this and not be the kook job rated for the white coat. But I do believe that not enough people, and I might get some flack for this, are pushing that envelope anymore. They're not pushing the envelope. They're not trying new methods. I remember I talked to a guy named Frank Sumption, and he created the Ghost, the Frank's box, right? And he was actually sheepish to talk about it at first, because he did it for his own reasons. I mean, it was to reach out for his own validation. But he was an inventor, And so he kind of invented this ghost box that we all really everything everyone's using is really offshoot of the Frank's box is what it is.
Absolutely it is, yep.
And I remember talking with him, and he didn't even believe in his own device at the time. And it was so wild because here he was at this ground floor of this breaking new way of talking to either the dead or another dimension, what have you. And he didn't appreciate it long enough, in my opinion. See, he passed away though. He's been passed away now, and to me, I think it was untimely. It definitely was untimely, and he's sorely missed because he was a hell of an inventor. The reason why I bring that up was your first brush with the spirit box, was it a Frank's box, or were you more in the Radio Shack hacks?
It's a good question because I think it's a good piece of advice for anybody who wants to get into it. Mine was a SB7. I still use the very same SB7 that I used the very first time, and the reason why I say that is because I do believe that you are connected energetically with your device. And I've had a lot of people come up to me over the years when I do talks and whatnot, and they're like, we want to do this too, which I think is great. And they're like, what do you recommend? And I've seen people, like if they posted on a Facebook page about Spirit Box or something, like, oh, you got to get this one, you got to get this one, stuff that's like $200 to $300. Mm-hmm. And in my personal opinion, and others could very much disagree with me on it, get an SB7. They're like, $59.
Yeah.
And at least if you get a little, if you don't even get like full sentences, which we get now, we get full sentences. Yeah. If you get just a hint of a voice, that's enough to be like, okay, maybe I'm ready to go to a next level. But don't sell the farm to just get something really high class and then it's not really working for you.
Is there a learning curve, Greg, to do this? I mean, it's kind of like learning how to drive. We didn't all start with Ferraris.
I think the learning curve comes from yourself, your intention, right? I mean, that's what I've always been told, and that's what I firmly believe is when you go into an investigation, what is your intention? If you're going in there to provoke and be a jerk, then that's what you're going to get back. If you're going in there frightened, you're going to probably not get a whole lot back, or you're going to maybe get some of those wise guy spirits that are going to want to make you like fear for your life.
Oh, I'd be the wise guy, man. Just letting you know that if for some reason, some unforeseen reason, I go first, I'm so coming to harass you guys.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm with you because I'm also going to be that one that when pass away and there's going to be somebody who's going to pull out a chair and they're going to sit. I'm just going to move the chair.
Exactly. I'm giving you some great evidence, Greg. Come on. Just listen. What do you want to know, man? I'm going to give you the entire secret of life as I know it. So I could be wrong. But my opinion, my opinion's worth every penny, and it's free. So,
that it's a good deal, is what I'm thinking. Yeah, it sounds like a really good deal.
It's a great deal. Now, and we're going to talk about this in the second half hour, but we're going to get deeper into Minnesota Ghost Box, and of course, you do a little radio show.
I do a little radio show on the ParaX network.
Yeah, we're actually on ParaX. They'll be carrying us at a later date. Of course, we're in delay over there, but thank you so much, ParaX, for carrying us. Yeah. And the X has been a big supporter of what you're doing and what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So I can't go without saying, hey there, ParaX people. We love you. We love you.
Absolutely.
But you do the radio show. And do you prefer radio over television? Or do you think that they're both equal, just in different mediums?
They are so different. The two of them are so different for me because one is where the radio, I take myself out of it. I just ask the questions of the guests that I have on because it's their hour. The web series, that's my desire, not to be on camera, but for me to tell a story, the story of the locations and the people.
Very, very cool. I like I said, I love the series. I love the story that you tell along with the evidence. And of course, when we come back from break here, we're going to be going to break here in a little bit, but we're going to talk also about the crew that you work with.
Absolutely.
Because they're no slouches themselves either, and that's one thing I noticed, that you guys are very cohesive and very good at what you guys do. So we're going to run to break. We come back. We're going to talk more with Greg about Minnesota Ghost Box. Don't go anywhere, otherwise we'll find you, and you don't want that to happen. Believe me, I smell. You don't want that to happen. I'm a radio guy. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.
the time now. Really thought the thing would go my way, but I bet against it all. Something about the way the summer comes in, it's that smooth.
Hey, you listen to After Hours AM, and if you're listening to us via podcast, make sure you like us, follow us, review us, tell your friends about us, tell grandma about us, and keep listening.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
So me and the boys head out to tailgate today and find some other fans in our spot.
Well, it happens.
Cheering for the wrong team.
Oh, this is war.
Even worse, they've got this couch set up and everything.
A couch?
Yeah, it's sectional.
All right, first thing, don't ever use the word sectional again.
Done.
Second, I want you to grab a 4,700-pound tow chain with J-hook and grab hammer. Throw that on the back of your truck.
Got it.
Now you're going to Hail Mary the J-hook over the end of that couch. Time to find a better spot for your new friends.
That should do it.
There's no problem a little horsepower can't solve. Northern Tool and Equipment.
Anavar Media LCC is a dedicated team of professionals committed to helping business development scale and protect their websites, mobile applications, enterprise software solutions in the Northeast Ohio area. Locally owned since 2012, our client-centered values truly sets Anavar apart. Contact us today to learn how you can get 25% off your first project. Call them at 234-380-4852. Again, that's 234-380-4852, or visit them at www.anavar.com. Again, that's www.anavar.com.
Taking a family of 5 to the amusement park can cost a small fortune.
Oh, yeah. So to save some money, we thought, hey, let's bring the amusement park to us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Step right up, young man. Are you ready to ride the wacky waterfall?
That's just the bathtub with the shower head running.
Nope, it's the wacky waterfall.
It's the shower, Dad.
Waterfall.
Wacky.
There's an easier way to save. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com. Then buy online, over the phone, or at your local Geico.
You're listening to After Hours AM. Do you have a question for the guests or even the host? That's really easy. Go ahead and email those questions to afterhoursam@gmail.com. Are you feeling like picking up the phone and being part of the show? Call us at 612-326-6874, 612-326-6874. Come be part of the madness. Welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. And, of course, I am talking with my talented and awesome co-host, Greg Bakun, tonight. And he is the founder of Minnesota Ghost Box. Right along with, now, I don't want to be remiss, there is a hell of a crew behind him. It's not just Greg. You have Nicole Hoppola. You have all sorts of great people. Why don't you give us the rundown of people?
Well,
and by the way, Nicole, cut that hair. Cut that hair. Okay. She's working late, so give Nicole a little love.
Absolutely. And Nicole, honestly, without Nicole in particular, there wouldn't be a Minnesota Ghost Box, because I personally am not super interesting. But what Nicole brings is she's an intuitive healer. She works a lot of energy. She's a medium, and she's extremely talented. And we had only actually met each other about 2 years ago, and we knew right away that we both had the same vision for a paranormal team. The idea of a web series or anything else has always been kind of mine. Mm-hmm. And this idea that she decided that she wanted to be a part of it was great. And we just kind of had to figure out how that worked. But she can do so much, and she can read people, energy, the room, everything so well that it's one of the greatest pieces of doing Minnesota Ghost Box has been having her involved with it. And I'm always in awe of the work that she does.
Yeah, when I watch the episodes of you and her working together, of course, your whole other crew, really it shines through, and you guys mesh so well, the entire crew, that it really puts out a great product. And of course, anyone after the show, you can go check out Minnesota Ghost Box over on YouTube, and they're all right there for you. And I really suggest you give it a peek, because you will not be disappointed. In fact, you're gonna want more. You'll get hooked. You'll be like, oh, damn it, there's no more. But there could be more. If you want there to be more, I would like to see Minnesota Ghost Box on Netflix. I would like to see it out there, to be more out there like that, much like a good friend of ours named Josh Zeman. He does Killer Legends, and he was in much the same boat, except he does a true crime thing, and it was really nice to see that go to Netflix where it was more accessible. And just me speaking, I don't have any pull in Netflix. Although Netflix, if you want to sponsor us, hey, I'd be okay with that. But I would like to see that in a bigger stage. YouTube's great, it really is, but stuff like that. But anyhow, I digress. We played one of the snippets from an actual Ghost Box session right during the break, and that, of course, was "Go Home, Robert." Will you tell us how that one came about and where it was recorded?
Sure. There's a place in New York called the Morris Jamel Mansion. And this was at the very beginning of Minnesota Ghost Box, even before Nicole joined, where I was not doing a web series, but I was doing these things called audio investigations, which was basically a podcast, kind of like This American Life in a sense, but it was more of a paranormal investigation on audio with the narration and whatnot, because I guess I couldn't afford a camera or something. Anyway, so we decide, my friend Robert and I decide to go out to New York, and we go to the Morris Jamel Mansion, which has quite the history to it. It's been around since before the American Revolution. General Washington stayed there for 3 months, and it was just an amazing old place, and everything around it's built up, but the mansion still stays the same. And it was owned by, at the end, Eliza Jamel, who was at one time one of the richest women in America, which was a pretty mean feat, actually. But Robert was there, and I was recording for the investigation and stuff, and he was just not feeling well. He was seeing, he felt like that. Not possession, that's not the right word, but he felt that there was something not quite right. And so we got permission to do a spirit box session there, and we went around the grounds and did it. And to be able to get this response of someone saying, "Go home, Robert," it's an amazing, intelligent response, but it's also something to him, and he didn't hear it at the time. And I didn't hear it at the time, and that's one of the things about Spirit Box is that you always have to record because you're going to miss about 90% of what's being said.
Sure.
So
it happens so fast.
Yeah. And hearing it when I got back to Minnesota, I mean, it's one of those things that just completely energizes you because you couldn't believe that this was such an intelligent response. And it's one of my favorites, to be honest, because it is so clear, and it is intelligent, and it says the name of someone that's actually at that session.
You see, now that is so compelling. Now that you put it into context, that answer, that really, I love to sit with you guys and do a session. I've never worked with anyone on your level, your caliber, that can use the Ghost Box as well as you guys could. I'd love to go with you guys sometime.
Would love you to be with us.
Yeah, we're not that far away.
I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah, we're not that far away geographically. So, man, if you ever put the invite out there, you better mean it, because I'm coming, man. I am coming, whether you like it or not. But I'm showing up. I'll be at your doorstep going, "Greg, you told me to meet here, and you didn't even show up or anything. So I'm at your house now."
You're just going to see somebody looking behind a curtain, and is that Greg? It might be. I don't know. And he just quickly the curtain shuts. That's kind of how that will.
It's only stalking if it's violent. It's violence.
You're only going to hear, "Go away."
Yeah. Get out of here. Go away. He'll bring a squirt bottle out and squirt. Get out of here. Look, I'm going.
Yeah, bad, Joel. Bad.
Yeah, get out of here. No one wants you here. But the Ghost Box, now, I guess, we never did talk in this interview because we got so wrapped up in the nuts and bolts of how it works in the show and the radio show. What makes you tick? What brought you to the paranormal table?
I'm not sure, to be very honest. I've always had, you've talked about, and I've listened to some of the other shows, you talked about where you kind of started like watching stuff like In Search Of.
Yeah, loved that show. That show was, that was my barn burner right there. That's what got me going.
And that's the same with me. The idea that, and it would frighten me. That 70s kind of music when Leonard Nimoy would be speaking, and it's just like, on grainy film that is kind of, all of it's kind of frightening. And one week you're talking about Amelia Earhart, the next week you're talking about is Hitler dead, and you're just like, holy cow! I don't know. This is frightening to me as a young kid, but I loved it.
Yeah, and then later on, Sightings came out.
Oh, yeah.
With their show, which was a follow-up back in their late 80s, mid to late 80s, the Sightings came out.
Yeah.
And that took it more to, it was another level when they came out, too, because they did the more edgy stuff. I mean, the more of the scare you kind of stuff. Where Leonard Nimoy's show, In Search, a beautiful show. Don't ever think anyone could do a better job than they did. But they were more just give me the facts kind of show. Where Sightings kind of took you really and told a story along with it.
It did. And so jumping ahead, I hadn't watched any of this stuff. And, I do little bits and pieces of, getting, into paranormal stuff here and there, not a ton of stuff, and read about it and kind of get immersed, but always wondered, is this too scary for me? Is this going to work? I wouldn't know what to do. And then I watched a paranormal show one day where their idea of doing an investigation was taking the largest man on the team and putting him into a coffin and burying him alive with an audio recorder. And
that's not creepy at all.
And there's a camera in there, of course. And of course, it's surprisingly, he starts freaking out from being buried alive with oxygen immediately being sucked out of there. And I thought to myself, really, is this what it's come to? This is kind of sad. I wish that this is too bad. And then I started watching a little bit more, and then that's when I really found out about the Spirit Box. And that's when I started to decide, okay, I want to actually I wanted to get more involved. I've read the theory. I've been a part of things from the peripheral, but what about actually getting involved? And I would do some investigations by myself, which is, super safe.
Oh yeah, and that's the safest of them all. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and I would go up to strangers and say hi to them and all that stuff too.
Do you have candy by chance?
Right.
Is there a puppy and candy in the
vans and
you jump in whether they want you or not. Is there a puppy, candy, or ghost in here? Which is it? Because I'm happy either way.
Oh, you're dressed as a teddy bear. I'll join you. But the thing is that after I started doing the investigations and stuff, I started having dreams about them, about the investigations, not those investigations, but the idea of doing more investigations. Every single night I would be having these dreams that would just fuel me, like I have to do it. And they weren't scary. I don't recall ever even getting to the point of evidence, just me being there and the act of me being a part of those investigations, and that I needed to have an active role in this field. It was nonstop, probably for about a year, of literally every single night having dreams about being a part of this.
I found myself doing the much same thing, except I had something to do with the Sally House investigation, and I felt the same way. Except I would dream about that house, and it was just like I would almost like astral travel there. I swear to God, I was astral traveling to the Sally House. Yeah, it was such a pull to me. It was like I couldn't get enough. I couldn't get enough of it. Yeah, and of course, a good friend of mine now, and I didn't know him at the time, Todd Bates. He does radio as well. He does Haunted Voices radio. And if you'd have talked to him, he was one of the spearheads of that investigation back in the day.
Okay,
and he'll tell you, man, it was a freaky place. And I came into it. And I was not knowing what to expect, and I had that same feeling. But then after that, it like hooks you. It goes from, in some levels, it goes from a hobby to obsession.
Yeah.
I need more. I need that more validation of this. I can't stop now. I'm so close. At least we think we're so close to breaking it open. And in a lot of ways, a lot of investigators that listen to this show explain to me how it's consumed them, how the paranormal is all that matters. And I tell them, I was where you are once. What you got to do, step back, enjoy the life you have now. It's okay to enjoy the paranormal. It's okay to get out there. But if you look so forward to the afterlife, you won't enjoy this life.
No, I would agree, but I would like to take it a step further too. Is like the idea is sure to further the field, but at the same time, I really think that I could help people, who, I mean, that's one of the things that Nicole and I were very, very much a part of with what we wanted to do, either with the web series or without the web series, was being able to go to people who needed help and see what we could do.
Yeah, and that is a lot of it why I got into it as well. I mean, I wanted to help people because I kind of had some paranormal weird things as a kid that scared the hell out of me.
Sure.
And I wouldn't want another child being scared that way. If I can help get boogeyman out, I will. But then you kind of get deeper and deeper. It's kind of like a river. You kind of get in the river and you have every intention of swimming in this river. Then before you know it, the current kind of carries you away. You don't lose track of the shore, but it's becoming a little further and further away, and that's what happens to a lot of investigators. They get too into the experience and not enough into the helping part of it anymore. Where it's almost become like a selfish need to do that. But that's not all of them. And that's very few of them, but that does happen. Now, I just want to throw out a shameless plug for myself out there, and we have a ton of Minnesota listeners tonight. I can see that, guys. iHeartRadio, show me where you're from, so I can see you. And if any of the teams in Minnesota, I'm up in Duluth. I'd love to tag along. If you guys got any groups, got some cool things going on, don't forget me up here because I would be there in a heartbeat. I just want to let you guys know that. And I support each and every one of you. If anybody wants to come on this radio show and you got something cool to say and a cool group and stuff like that, let's use this platform that I have here that's reaching out to the world. Let's talk about what you guys are doing. Let's get that out there because maybe, just maybe, you're the holder of that key. And you're the one that's doing it, because we just never know until we get you on and we talk with you. I just want to throw that out there because a lot of our Midwestern, we talked about this, a lot of our Midwestern brothers and sisters, we're a flyover state, Greg. We really are. Whether we like it or whether we don't get enough love, in my opinion. And we have a lot of great talent here. We really do. And you're one of them. And if you were listening now and you got a couple $1,000,000 to spend, you might want to invest it in the Minnesota Ghost. Just saying, make it into a real TV show or, things like that. But what's your vision for the web series? Because we're kind of talked about it. Where do you see this crazy thing going?
Well, the thing is I get worried with questions like that because I don't want people to listen and be like, well, all they want is fame.
I totally get you. I'm the one asking it. Let me categorize that. What's your plans for the web series show in mass media markets, but still helping people and sticking to your core?
So one of the ways to stick to your core is, regardless of if anyone was ever interested in helping us get to a different platform, say like a Netflix or something like that, that it would have to be on our terms. It's not about demons. And one of our phrases that we always say it's not really about us. It's about them, meaning the spirits and the people. We try to take a back seat to everything.
Sure.
But I edit this thing and I shoot it mostly. I would love to be able to do that full time. I would love to be able to create more of these places and bring more of these unique places to people who haven't heard of them or wanted a different aspect of them. This isn't our story. This is their story. So we want to bring that story to people. And who wouldn't want to be able to just tell those stories and make as much of that stuff as you can, and hopefully get it to people who would really find something interesting in it.
I agree. I totally agree. And one thing I want to add, that Minnesota Ghost Radio Show, if you have not had a chance to catch them live on ParaX, you can go over to iHeartRadio, the After Hours AM feed, and you can download all you want, anytime, anywhere. You can download Minnesota Ghost Radio. And you can listen that way. And you guys have been gobbling that up like crazy. And that's a wonderful thing. So keep doing it. Make sure, because we want to make sure iHeart knows that the paranormal is a legitimate market that it's beyond the big boys, that there are other radio shows out there that do offer great content out there that don't necessarily have a Orge Maury or a like I did that, or other names out there that actually are radio shows for the people by the people, and Minnesota Ghost Radio is one of that. Minnesota Ghost Box Radio is definitely one of that. It's for the people by the people, because you were an investigator long before you were a radio host.
Yeah, very much so. And I just want to say for everyone who has downloaded it or anyone who's considered or have checked out our web series, thank you very much, because we've been getting a lot of good response. So we just released a new episode of the web series today, and I've been overblown by the response from it, because it is a lot of hard work, and it's our heart put into it, and people seem to enjoy it, and that means a lot to me.
Yeah, well, really, for real, and as long as that is what's happening, and you're enjoying it and you're loving it, and of course, Nicole just popped in via Messenger. I just want to give her a little love. Hey, Nicole, thank you so much for telling us we're doing a great job. Thank you so much. That means a ton because I enjoy watching you on Minnesota Ghost Box. So it's kind of nice to know you enjoy something I do. But before we leave, one of the things that has been brought up to me when you were on the show last night and we're talking about the Ghost Box and things, I have to go there. Demons. Is there a possibility that everything that you are hearing, and I don't mean to come across tongue-in-cheek, because some people firmly believe this, so I'm not going to poo-poo the idea, but is there a chance that everything you're talking to is on the demonic level?
Here's the thing, and this might be a little controversial to some investigators, because I know some are purely scientific investigators. I like to say I investigate from the heart, and what that means to me is being able to have a partnership with Nicole, who is a medium, and that I have, I feel like that I have some intuitive value to myself also. Sure. So I feel like if I'm getting something from a spirit box that is ill-intentioned, I will know it. And I have in the past, but I don't personally think that I've ever ran across on any of my evidence that I've come into from the spirit box, I've ever had a demon talk to me.
Yeah, exactly. We got a few questions. I don't mean to interrupt you that are sitting in the email that I think are pretty good questions. The first one, and finish your thought, of course. I just want to let you know that there are some questions for you, and they do pertain to the demonic realm and how the spirit box works. I guess the first one would be this one comes from Peter, and Peter. Hi, Peter. Never mind. I was going to tell a bad joke, but I won't. Anyhow, Peter Piper picked a peck of peppers. But he's curious of whether the ghost box is nothing more than a glorified Ouija board.
It's he's not far off in a lot of ways, because anytime that you are opening that realm to do spirit communication, you may never know what's going to come out of it, right? And you have to be super careful about it. That's why the way that we operate is that we have to protect ourselves and do protection before we go in, and there will be house clearings and stuff like that will happen. That if we go to a private residence for investigation, we're not going to do an investigation and leave. We're going to do an investigation, figure out what we do, and then if it's not just Nicole or myself, we have enough contacts in the paranormal field that we will bring people in to help us make sure that those people are taken care of.
Well, I know we have a mutual friend in Bishop James Long.
Yes.
And I've talked to him several times about the demonic, because I'll get these hardcore hitting emails talking about demonic, especially when we happen to do a show that's a little on the darker side, and people kind of, and they'll talk about how they're being infested or they're being oppressed. And I will actually give those a lot. I call him Jim Long, but he's Bishop James Long. And he'll read them. And if he deems them appropriate, he'll reach out to them.
Yeah.
But, he's a great resource. That community is a great resource to have in your back pocket, so to speak, because a lot of it can be scary. A lot of it, whenever you open yourself up, in my opinion, to the other side, there is always a small chance of a pushback. There is always a small chance of something nasty coming back.
Yeah, I've had stuff follow me. I've had stuff attached to me, and I didn't know what to do with it at one time. And when you're early on in your career of this and whatnot, I'm laughing to myself because he's Jim Long to you, he's Bishop Long to me.
Yeah, I've known Jim for a long time, many years, and a really great guy, very good resource over the years. And I always enjoy interviewing him as well. We'll have to get him back.
Oh gosh, he's good.
Days.
Yeah, and Nicole is actually taking demonology courses from him, or I think she's finished them or close to finishing them.
That is very cool. And a few other questions here, and then the second one is, this one is from Michael. Michael asks, does Greg or his team, when they go in, do they have some type of prayer protection, or is it purely secular?
It's what it is we generally do our own protection. We because everyone has their own way of preparing themselves for an investigation. What we will do, and we've done certain things, such as I've had at work, we raffled off an opportunity for people at work to go with us and investigate the soap factory, which is coincidentally what this web episode is. When it's people that we don't know and that they've never done an investigation before, Nicole will do something to help protect everyone, like walk them through how to bubble themselves with protection.
Sure. Well, Kevin wants to know, how does he get Minnesota Ghost Box at his hotel and lodge in northern Minnesota to come up and do a session?
We have a website, www.mn-ghostbox.org. And there's a contact us in there, or can contact me directly through Facebook. We're always here to answer questions or help in any way that we need to.
That's so cool. That really is, that you're so accessible.
We'll go anywhere.
Yeah,
we have gone
man.
everywhere. So
I'm
anywhere.
like that too. I'm a road warrior. You tell me where to go, and I'll be there. But there better be treats and Kool-Aid, as long as there's refreshments.
Not the Kool-Aid. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, Joel.
Good thing you warned me, because I got some Kool-Aid sitting here that came from a listener just out of nowhere. It says, drink this, please. You'll enjoy it. Good thing you said something.
You walk into the room with all these people wearing tracksuits and like, oh, we've been waiting for you. We've been expecting you.
Well, I tried to start a cult once, but I realized that robes and haircuts are extremely expensive. No thanks to Walmart and Great Clips. Thank you. Thank you for dashing my dreams. Oh, damn cult anyway, I tell you, But, it's really cool. Like I said, the web series, I mean, we watch a lot of, for the show, we watch a lot of TV. We get a lot of screeners. And I would stack your show up. And I'm not just saying this because you're on air with me or because you're from Minnesota. I really mean this. I would stack that show up against anyone out there. And that's how much I really enjoy it. It's very cool. We get a lot of submissions from web series as well. Hey, can we come on and talk about our Willow Web show? And which I don't mind watching it, but I'm telling you guys, I love y'all. I do. But if it's a pile of garbage, I'm going to tell you it's a pile of garbage just to save yourselves and not be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because I love y'all, and I don't want to see any of my friends and any of our listeners get embarrassed on a national stage. Yeah. And so there's a little bit of responsibility with that. But, Greg, man, I got to say, it has been an honor and a privilege to talk to you about this. I really enjoy your stuff. I really enjoy the fact that you've been my co-host for the last 2 nights.
Thank you.
And really, again, if you have not seen it, go to YouTube after the show, check it out. But we are going to shift gears here. We're going to run off the Fox News here in just a little bit, and we're going to talk about dinner. Well, not just dinner, okay? We're going to talk about Dinner with a Ghost with John Cushman, Justin Kimmock, and we're going to be talking all about how they are using food to elicit, responses from the paranormal. Well, like, they'll go to different locations, and they'll put on these grand dinners, and a lot of times you'll be surprised at how often that elicits a paranormal response, which I never thought about that, to be honest with you, Greg, that food, something as simple as food, could elicit or be used as a trigger item. But now I sit back and think about it, makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's fantastic.
So that's coming up right after the Fox News. We got to get out of here. We're going to pay some bills, play some Fox News. We'll be right back right after this.
Fox News Radio, I'm Kathleen Maloney. The Trump administration is appealing a federal judge's ruling in Hawaii that blocks the president's revised travel ban. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal has more live.
Judge Derek Watson extended his suspension of the revised travel ban, siding with the state of Hawaii. The state had argued that the new travel ban is still a Muslim ban, like the first one. The judge had previously found it likely violates the Establishment Clause of the Constitution. And in extending his ruling, he wrote that the court declines to ignore the religious animus leading up to the first executive order. Attorneys for the Trump administration had noted that any mention of religion had been removed from the second order, and that his ruling should really only apply to the travel ban on 6 Muslim-majority countries, not the refugee program. The Trump administration is also appealing a ruling by a judge in Maryland who also blocked the revised travel ban. Kathleen.
Thanks, Jessica. The top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee says he will review documents the White House is providing about incidental surveillance of members of President Trump's campaign team. But he has serious questions, including...
Why weren't they presented in a more transparent way to the committee? That's the diplomatic way of putting it.
Congressman Adam Schiff also wants to know if they are the same documents Chairman Devin Nunes reviewed in a secret visit to the White House. There are reports that former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn has offered to be interviewed by the Senate and House Intelligence Committees and the FBI in return for immunity from prosecution. So far, his offer has reportedly not been accepted. North Carolina's governor has signed a bill rolling back the state's transgender bathroom law. It is a compromise that some civil rights groups say does not go far enough. And stocks closed higher, the Dow climbing 69 points. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced. More violence in Chicago. Police say 4 people have been fatally shot in or near a restaurant on the city's south side. No arrests yet. Police in Cincinnati have 2 men in custody in connection with a shooting at the Cameo nightclub Sunday that left 1 person dead and 16 injured.
Both of these subjects are being charged with murder in connection to the incident, and additional charges will likely be added as they proceed through the grand jury process.
Cincinnati Police Chief Elliot Isaac says they are still searching for someone else possibly involved in that shooting. SpaceX has launched its first recycled rocket. Falcon 9 blasted off from Florida's Kennedy Space Center, hoisting a broadcasting satellite into the sky. It's the biggest step yet in the company's effort to drive down costs and speed up flights. A successful actress isn't ruling out politics sometime in the future.
Scarlett Johansson talks about the controversy over the whitewashing of the lead Asian character that she plays in the film Ghost in the Shell.
She is a human brain in an entirely machine body.
She also talked with ABC's Good Morning America about being outspoken in Hollywood.
I'm not afraid to say what I feel is right just because I think that I'm going to face criticism or some people might not like me.
Johansson spoke about politics in her future.
I've always been interested in local politics. Right now, I think, with my young daughter and also as my career is going right now, it's not the right time.
Ghost in the Shell opens nationwide Friday. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
After decades of using frozen meat for its burgers, McDonald's is making a menu change. At some point next year, the fast food chain will switch to fresh beef for its quarter pounder. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News Radio.
And welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. Boy, did that break go by quick. We're having so much fun talking off air that we almost forgot we have a radio show to do. So, hey, here we are. We're back at this radio show. And, of course, I'm Joel Sturgis, the host. You know me, but I got a super cool co-host, and that is Greg Bakun with me tonight. And it has been rocking. We have been talking all about paranormal the whole first hour. And, of course, we talked about Minnesota Ghost Box and how the Ghost Box works. We will be playing another snippet of Greg's work. That'll be next break because, you know, the news doesn't like it when I interfere with their news for some reason. They get a little mad when I put things in.
Who knew?
Yeah, but tonight we are talking about dinner with a ghost. And, you know, a lot of people might be scratching their head going, well, Joel, how does dinner and a ghost come together? It really does. John Cushman, Justin, now is it Kimmick, Justin?
It's Simmock.
Simmock. Okay, I didn't want to slaughter, and I hate slaughtering names, so I figured I'd let you say it. And a little bit about them both. John, of course, in 1977. John, you walked from New York City to San Diego. I was reading this in your bio. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Walk for Humanity to ignite excitement and inspire kids with muscular dystrophy. Hats off to you, my friend. That really is a feat.
You know, that was it. It was 2 feet, actually.
Well, you know, one step at a time on 2 feet. That's right. He got there. And then, after John's momentous journey across the country, he continued to work with foundations, charities, educational organizations, to assist the next generation in becoming future leaders. John has also dedicated part of his life to history. He's a big history buff like I am, becoming an expert in Civil War era, as well as one of the Western region's biggest collector of Civil War memorabilia. Boasting both an impressive and diverse collection, John also is authority. Authored a series called History Through the Eyes of a Child, which, man, I'd like to talk about that someday, just on that on its own. Then, of course, the preservation of history became really important with John, and he created Ghost Town Operations, and that is where the dinner comes in, and we'll get into that with Dinner with the Ghost. And really, long story short, they're working very hard to preserve these historical, iconic places that otherwise may hit the wrecking ball. Now, a little bit about Justin. Justin is Vice President of Field Operations. Justin grew up in Rialta, am I saying that right? Nevada. Where did I do it? Did I hit it? And where he and his friends would conduct numerous ghost hunts, leading to several bone-chilling encounters with the paranormal world. In 2002, Justin joined the U.S. Navy. Well, hey, thank you for your service, Justin. Where he spent 4 tours, get this, 4 tours in Iraq. Again, hats off to you, my friend. Thank you for your service. After 5 years, he was honorably discharged. In addition to being a part of the GTOPS team, Justin has his own podcast. I did not know that, Justin. I will definitely have to tune into that. And writes films. He is always seeking out paranormal activity and enjoys communicating with spirits from the other side. Well, guys, welcome to After Hours AM, and hopefully I didn't slaughter your bios. After all, Erica's the best in the business, but he's on vacation.
Absolutely. You did great.
You know what's incredible, Joel? He's 45 minutes down the street from me.
Is he really? Did he stop in? Did he say, hey, what's up, John?
No. I found out by accident.
Are you kidding me? He didn't even stop in. He didn't even bring you a Big Mac saying, you know what? Here's dinner with a ghost.
That's right. Bring me something from Ohio, for Christ's sake. He is so funny. He's so funny.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, Eric, I've been working with him for years, and he never he never stops cracking me up. But now that we've had you guys on about a year and a half ago, and we talked, of course, about Dinner with a Ghost, but we're now on iHeartRadio as well, which is, as everybody knows, one of the largest radio conglomerates in the world. So we have millions of new listeners, and if you would like to give everybody, Justin and John, a rundown of basically your organization and really how you guys kind of came to be.
Well, let's see. First of all, Ghost Town Operations was formed, and Justin, I always get the dates wrong. How long ago was that? Quite a while. I keep wanting to say 12 years, but that Dinner with a Ghost was 12 years old now. I'm going to say probably 15 years ago. Maybe, yeah, 2007.
Man, you sound like me and my wife arguing about our wedding anniversary. When did that thing happen after all? What year was that?
Yeah, and we have how many kids?
Yeah. How did we end up with 4 of these things?
How did we end up with... Wow. My wife told me we ended up with 7, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. That's where the money's going.
Yeah. Man, the milkman's busy around here. Jeez.
Yeah. I noticed we have a lot of milk here lately. So, Justin and myself, a number of other guys formulated Ghost Town Operations, or as we call it, G-Tops. Anyway, we, like anybody else, were all interested in the paranormal, how it all came together. It was incredible. All of a sudden, we're all living next door to each other, and all of a sudden we're talking about paranormal. We go, what? You're interested? What? You're interested? Oh, man, let's do something. And I guess that's how it all started.
Well, John, was it a Harry Met Sally moment with Justin? Was it like, oh, my God, you're into the paranormals? I didn't even know that. You're my neighbor and everything. I had no idea about that. My God, we got to do something together.
Well, it's even stranger than that, Joel. I've actually known John for many years because I went to high school with his son. And the thing is we've known each other for a very, very long time. But when you first start experiencing the paranormal, it's kind of hard to share that with everybody because half the people, would think that you're crazy or whatever else. And so you never bring that kind of thing up, to your friend's dad or whatever. And like you said, it's just discussing it and finding out that, we all had something in common. That's what sparked the desire,
Now, just a quick question, John, with your son and then and Justin and your son being friends, is anyone else in your family interested in paranormal, or has it just been you?
Oh, no. So my youngest at 7 years old had gotten into it with his father. Got in with all of us. And he is now 22 years old. And he leads up all the filming and editing for us. He's going to school for filming and editing. And, in this business, as you know, that's very convenient.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
it's great.
And, so he's been in it a while. And as any paranormal group, people come and people go. But Justin and I, and he'll tell you straight out, perfect. It's just worked out very good between us, and we've managed to stick together all these years. Now, you're going to ask me how Dinner with the Ghost came around.
Of course I am. How did you end up having dinner with that ghost?
It's funny how that happened. During the process of Ghost Town Operations, we were in the process of dealing with Goldfield.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so before that even started, I had driven up to Goldfield. I wanted to see what it looked like while I was on vacation. And as I got up there, I drove around and I wanted to go look at the high school. And there's a man kneeling on his knees, filling in the exterior walls of the high school with cement. And I had to stop and find out what this guy was doing to this building that looked like hell.
Yeah.
1905 building, original building. Anyway, I got out, walked over to him, introduced myself. I said, what are you doing? He goes, I am filling in the cracks and winterizing this building to save it.
Wow.
And he started standing up to introduce himself, and he told me his name was Dominic Papalardo, as he reached out and got cement all over my hands. So, and he let me have a tour of the building, and we talked about things, and how these buildings are turning into sand, meaning they're falling down. Nothing's saving them. Now, I don't know if you know your history, but Goldfield was the largest gold strike in the nation's history.
Yeah.
You had great icons of history walking the streets. Wyatt Earp and his brother.
Sure.
Were deputy marshals there at the time, 1905. Mark Twain was there. I mean, you got people there that just, I guess money attracts people, huh?
Well, anyway, it sounds like it was kind of a crossroads of America at that time.
Well, population was between 35,000 and 50,000
Damn.
at any given time.
Wow.
It was now, can you imagine that city still existed today compared to Las Vegas?
Yeah.
That's where the gold was.
Yeah.
That's where the gold was. So, with that in mind, I told Dominic that I would come back in a couple of weeks with something that's going to take this and it's going to help. I have a marketing background. I got a food background. I got an event background. I got a lot of backgrounds. So, went back and pondered what we could do and what I could pull together for raising money, getting people interested.
Mm-hmm.
You got to look at it. It's, 3 hours from anywhere. It's, how are you going to get people to even go there?
What would be the
have
hook?
any interest in it? So my goal was, okay, how do I get investors there to look at this? And you don't get a hold of an investor and say, hey, here's my business card and this is what we're doing, dinner with a ghost. Excuse me? Excuse me? So, yeah. So I talked to investors and said, my business card is 3 hours from here. I would like you to come and have dinner with a ghost, and we're going to talk about things.
Mm-hmm.
So they get there, and we have them come into this schoolhouse, and you gotta imagine, the exterior looks like hell, but the interior has some character to it still. The Gone with the Wind staircase is all wood, just beautiful.
Oh,
I
can relate. I can relate to that. Exterior looks like hell because you just described my body. It looks like hell on the outside, but inside it's rocking.
That's right. Well, I was going to say nobody's probably taken a broom to the floors in 40 years, 50 years. So, to get the investors there.
Yeah.
I told them I'm not going to give you a card. Take a chance.
Yeah.
And little by little, we had one time we had 7 of them there at once. And they walk in there. We give them a champagne reception. We tell them what we're doing. They don't see the dinner end yet. We have a projector set up. We were showing the town, its history, and then get up for dinner with a ghost. And they walk. You got to imagine. You can see right through everything. We walk into the other room and into the shabby room, and it's the aha moment. The table's magnificent, fine china. Crystal rock centerpieces, fine crystal glassware, and a Las Vegas executive chef cooking a 5-course meal.
Wow, man, where do I sign up? I'm hungry.
I'm looking at the pictures right. I'm looking at the pictures right now on your website, and I'm a pretty massive foodie, and just this is finer fare than I could ever imagine eating myself, and it looks amazing. I mean, and all the different choices that were prepared. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful.
And here's the key, Joel. It can be done anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you go into these buildings that haven't been around. You don't have electricity. We create our own kitchen. I take everything. You got to imagine, not only carrying all the ghost equipment. Now you're carrying
exactly, and Greg's absolutely correct. I mean, I'm looking at this, and my Lord, you guys are not sparing any expense on food. Let me tell you.
Absolutely, absolutely not.
Makes it a lot better. Looks a lot better than the frozen pizza I had just before airtime.
Well, that's just how you roll. I don't know if I'd want pizza tonight or, choice center cut New York steak on top of fingerling potatoes,
Yeah. Well, that's a hard one. I might have to go with the pizza because I'm poor. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But very cool concept. I mean, and Justin, as you've been involved in this, have you guys noticed any direct paranormal activity due to the food?
Oh, absolutely. And that's kind of the theory that we had, was that, we all have senses, and one of those senses that is a long-lasting sense would be your sense of smell, walking past a bakery or whatever else. And we kind of had a curiosity on whether or not food could be used as a trigger item. And so when we started doing these Dinner with the Ghosts in the beginning, we'd really try to shape the meals that we serve as luxurious as we possibly can, but also sort of time period correct for the areas that we were doing. And we noticed right away that it worked. It just absolutely worked. We've seen full body apparitions at Dinner with a Ghost. We've seen items flying across the dining table. We've seen laser grids being broken, people sitting in the chair that we've set up specifically for a spirit to join our guests at the dinner. And so to answer your question in a shorter way, absolutely, it has intensified using the dinner method.
Justin, is there any sort of evidence that you have seen doing these dinners that directly correlate with the food, or something that's like a favorite piece of evidence that you've received over the years?
Oh, absolutely. When we were doing a Dinner with a Ghost in another Nevada ghost town called Gold Point, we seemed to reach what we believe to be the spirit of a little girl. And she only came near the table when we offered her the dessert item, if you can believe that, kids in dessert. But
right, yeah.
It really brought out some absolutely mind-blowing things. She broke the grid. She was a little nervous to talk to John because, he's an adult and he's just John. But out of the ordinary, one of our guests had kids, and so we tried to have one of the kids, communicate with her, and even across some of our devices, we were getting her calling him Steamy, which I guess she thought he was attractive. But
wow, hey there, Steamy and all.
even at 12 years old.
Yeah, that is a mind blowing that kind of response is happening, and I never would have thought that a food would have been really a trigger item. How about you, Greg? Have you ever stopped and thought, well, maybe the Snickers bar could be a trigger item, so to speak?
Yeah, you think about all like the balls and the teddy bears and all that stuff, and it's like, well, good food might be good. I mean, what we've done in investigations is like we'll leave candy and stuff, but this is a full blown meal, and that's pretty exciting, actually.
Well, guys, we serve the dinner at the chair, at the spot, at the end of the table where the ghost sits. They get a full meal. They get served just like anybody else. And it's, as you know, the meal's fit for a king, and what we do the night before, Justin or myself, we go in to the location and do pre-investigation. All we do is spend the night inviting them to dinner with a ghost.
Sure, making sure they know they're invited. Yeah, come on, we're going to party tomorrow night. Make sure you're there and enjoy a good meal and good conversation.
And places like Gold Point, which he was mentioning, when you do 8 years there, you hope, even on the other side, they're purchasing tickets, to come to dinner with a ghost. So, we're hoping that happens. But that and chair, I'm going to tell you, everything is alarmed. The silverware, we have alarms on it. Mm-hmm. The plates, the glassware, the chair. We have REM pods, miniature and large REM pods around that, and a laser that comes into a 10 by 10 screen behind the chair. We have 8 cameras. You don't miss too many things.
Oh, I was going to say, it sounds like you guys are loaded for bear.
Yeah, and can I also
absolutely.
I just wanted to say how much I appreciate that you both and everyone else in your team are so respectful of the spirits by making sure that they know that they're a part of it, that they're not the spectacle, that they are actually part of it. And I really appreciate that. I think that's fantastic.
Well, we tell at the champagne reception, guys, we tell the guests they can't speak a word. Don't open your mouths at dinner other than to eat. You are observers only. We don't want to hear about your lives. They don't want to hear about your lives. They want to hear what was going on in 1905.
Yeah.
They want to hear about, the still blowing up in town at 80 miles an hour winds, and 92% of the town burned down in less than 2 hours with 35,000 people watching it burn down.
Wow.
These are the type of things you want to discuss. We don't go in there talking about current events. What do you think about today's president? What? What? Really? There's today's president was, McKinley. They don't want to hear about things that they don't have a clue for.
Yeah.
There's no clue. Absolutely no clue.
So do you
stick to
do you find it hard to have this many people eating a meal and not talking?
Absolutely.
Do they find that hard?
We've had several slips here and there. I've told them, you guys do not exist. The only people, you paid good money to come here, have a great meal, a good time, and possibly, because there's no scripts, there's no smoke and mirror, a possible anticipation of seeing something at dinner with a ghost. And that's just part of it.
How do you
after dinner?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was curious. It kind of popped in my head. How do you decide what to serve?
Yeah,
I do it historically. I do some menus. It depends. What were they eating back in those times? And historically, I don't know if Eric told you, we were working on the Presidents and Kings tour for next year, and sitting down and having dinner with all the ex-presidents. Whether it be Washington, Jackson, Monroe, Jefferson, whoever, we're going to line up for the Presidents and Kings tour. And it takes a lot of history. It takes a lot of going into books, trying to figure out what they were doing and eating in those times. I don't think a lot of us eat pigeons, so Zach Taylor could have a problem there. We're going to use Cornish hens, I guess. But, we look and we, with the help of the chef, I'll create the menus. The chef puts it together.
Yeah.
And this is authentic, and it'll look, smell, taste the same way. And you're making, 4 to 5 courses. I mean, you look at the desserts. When that dessert comes to your table, my feeling is if you don't get diabetes from looking at it, just looking at it, there's a problem.
If you don't have a cavity by the end of the night, go ahead.
And it has to overtake you as if you saw spirit. It's served in a 22-ounce martini glass, and it's just, I mean, you may see a picture in there somewhere on the line.
I've seen it.
We call that the attention getter. When that's delivered to the table, that's when we usually hear some words, and usually from the ladies. Ladies love chocolate. Yeah.
If it can be delivered to the table, can it be delivered to Minnesota immediately, please?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I did send you a picture, right?
Yeah, right. I guess.
Yeah. It's tasteless picture.
You need to come up here and do one of these. You need to come to Minnesota and do one of these.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, you never know. It's absolutely. We decided 2018 we're going to travel. We're going to travel and take it across America. But hey, that's what we're all about, and that's not it for dinner with the ghost. After they eat that dessert, and, from eating the dessert, if you don't see spirits, something's wrong. By the way, at dinner they have, we have fine wine there also. So everybody's ready to go for the paranormal investigation.
Yeah, I was going to say, after a few spirits, we're getting ready to check out some spirits.
That's absolutely right. So depending where we're at, whether it's Gold Point or a presidential home, guess what? We're going to go and go through the location. And it's just not, walking in a room, say, is anybody here? This is all pre-planned how we're going to handle it. What's going to go in the room? What's going to be the trigger objects? What's going to be the trigger objects? And, our last big trigger object is I bought a bunch of pianos. Who doesn't recognize a piano all the way back to 200 years ago? Everybody knows what a piano is. So I bought big and small pianos, several of them, and we put them in the room.
Very, very cool. But we got to run a break. More from John and Justin and Dinner with a Ghost. We come back. Don't go anywhere. Be right back right after this. Hey, you're listening to After Hours AM, and if you're listening to us via podcast, make sure you like us, follow us, review us, tell your friends about us, tell grandma about us, and keep listening.
Hi, Tom Bodette. If you can hear me, then you have an internet connection, which means you can do cool things online, like listen to streaming radio, obviously, or watch a video of a monkey washing a cat. Let your freak flag fly. Or you can book a room at a great price at motel6.com. Isn't the internet wonderful? Everything you want right at your fingertips, and whoa, did not need to see that. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Anavar Media LCC is a dedicated team of professionals committed to helping business development scale and protect their websites, mobile applications, enterprise software solutions in the Northeast Ohio area. Locally owned since 2012, our client-centered values truly sets Anavar apart. Contact us today to learn how you can get 25% off your first project. Call them at 234-380-4852. Again, that's 234-380-4852, or visit them at www.anavar.com. Again, that's www.anavar.com.
It's your ideas, work, and creativity that make it your yard. At ACE, we're here to help with hoses and sprinklers to nurture growth, gardening tools for the shape of good things to come, even the right fertilizer and bug killers to make the grass a little greener. You'll find it all now at ACE, your place, with everything you need for your yard, plus helpful advice, almost like we're right there. ACE,
the helpful place.
You're listening to After Hours AM. Do you have a question for the guests or even the host? That's really easy. Go ahead and email those questions to afterhoursam@gmail.com. Are you feeling like picking up the phone and being part of the show? Call us at 612-326-6874, 612-326-6874. Come be part of the madness.
The other guy in here is named Freddie. Could you please say Freddie's name to validate that you are listening to us?
And welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, and right along with me is Mr. Greg Bakun. He is sitting in gallantly for Mr. Eric Olson, so we do hope that he is doing fine over in the Pacific Northwest, and a Bigfoot has not eaten him. Although, I'm just saying, you were really close to John, man. I'm just throwing that out there, because I know you listen to the show. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm just spitballing.
I'm just saying, you might have been able to stop talking to John. Just saying. But getting back, we were talking. When we left, we were talking about Dinner with the Ghost and nuts and bolts and things like that. Now, Greg and I, when we were talking pre-show, Greg had a great question, and maybe I should let him answer about how people react. So, Greg, you had a really good wording of that.
Yeah, so I've done a lot of events and stuff where we've brought people in for paranormal investigations, but for the people who have never done a paranormal investigation before, but you run into people, I'd always want to be a part of it. Have you had anybody react bizarrely or badly, or feel like that they've been touched, or they don't like what's been going on, and how do you deal with that?
Well, with Dinner with a Ghost, we'll start with that. There's never, it's more shock and awe with Dinner with a Ghost because you're taken into magnificent. So, the whole event up to that point is shock and awe. Now we get into the actual paranormal end. We make it so they are, like Justin said, actively involved. Every room has something different in it. We never go anywhere without stuff. A child's room could be completely full of something. We take dolls and like anybody else, balls, but they're period. They're period. You don't take, a brand new baseball mitt or a brand new bat, for a boy. If it's an exterior location in a school or the school's halfway down, we put hopscotch, tic-tac-toe, and all that stuff on the ground, along with dolls and period sports equipment. But the rooms all have different things in it, so you're just not walking into a bare room. We have the ballroom. Of course, you have balls and marbles and this and that all over the floor. You have the girls' room. One year we had the Christmas room. You want to be able to get a reaction, and it's not from the people you're taking. You want the people that you're taking to say oh and ah, but you want whoever's there to say, "What's going on here? This is incredible. Are those pianos? Yes, they are, Kush."
Have you ever had, Justin? Have you ever had anyone pee their pants or run out?
Well, we did have an occasion, not with any young person, but we had some skeptical people, pretty prominent figures in Tonopah, join us for Dinner with the Ghost in Gold Point one year. And after dinner was over and everyone was getting up from their tables, and these are the type of people that, they see the devices going off, EMF detection or Oculus box or ghost box or any of that stuff going off, and they just kind of are like, well, yeah, whatever about that. But when they stood up from the table and we were getting ready to just take a break before we do the investigation, the room that we were in had all these relics from the town on all these shelves, and amongst that was a bunch of salt and pepper shakers, cologne bottles, like things of that nature. And when we all stood up and were pushing our chairs in and getting ready to take the break, a salt flew across the room and smacked a pan that was hanging on the ceiling and just about scared the death out of everyone.
Wow.
It just took everybody, out of their seats. And these two people looked at us and said, "Thank you very much," and physically left. They didn't go on the investigation. They just left. They said, "Thank you, we're done." All
right, we've seen enough. Yep. We're out of here. Pack it up, kids. We're out of here.
Well, and that's kind of how it was, because when they arrived, they were they acted like they were the authority, the people that know it all, the authority on everything, and they're bragging here and there, and we've done this, we've done that. I think they wrote a book also, and hey, and the second something happened, they're out of the room,
I call those guys paper investigators, by the way, that just write books and don't actually investigate. Paper investigators.
Yeah. Do you ever run into people who go the opposite direction and think that they can emulate what they see on the shows and maybe try to provoke or anything?
Well, before we go on the investigation, we highly recommend and actually ask people to absolutely do not do that. We tell them that it's not a TV show. The things that happen on TV are not some of the best methods to get yourself involved with, and if you're good to the spirits, they're going to be good to you. And basically, how you treat them is, do unto others as others do unto you. Basically, the message. But yeah, we've never had a problem with people going off the rails and, are there any demons that come at me? That kind of thing. Like, luckily, we have not encountered that. So
that's great.
And we were actually talking the first half hour that the big D word that is the big 10,000-pound gorilla in the paranormal right now is so far and few between. You know what I mean? You have a better chance of meeting a Sasquatch than a unicorn.
Right. Yeah. Our thought is don't provoke. Just don't provoke.
Yeah. Well, be just like meeting someone on the street, and what are you going to do? Yell at them right away? Hey, you, get over here. I don't like your... You wouldn't do that to someone you meet on the street, so why would you do it there? There's still people.
Well, not in a couple of weeks at least.
Well, no.
Right.
I cut down a lot. After the trial, I'll be much better, but, no.
And everybody go ahead.
No, it's okay. We make it pleasant for both sides. These people don't travel all this way, to even get to Gold Point.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 hours from anywhere. It's oh my God, these people are coming.
Yeah,
they're coming to a western town from the late 1800s.
Yeah,
and it shows that it works, and that we get a lot of returns. We get a lot of returns of people that have done it over and over and over, and the same with the spirits. This past year, and Justin can tell you too, we did not, you never expect a child. You just never, and it's heart-rendering. It's heart-rendering.
Yeah, it is.
And, when that child, her name was Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
And, you always go after the adults first because that's who you invited. You never think about inviting the children. No, you invite the adults.
Yeah.
And she came into the room, and she wasn't afraid about communicating. Boom, right away. Afraid about telling about her. Yeah.
That's something else. I mean, it's one thing to hear from adult spirits, but then child spirits, like you said, that just tugs at everybody's heartstrings.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. It's it really gets you.
And Justin could tell you that, we pretty much coddled her at that chair, trying to get her. She stood at the chair at the side because she was there. You could feel her. The meters were going off. Everything was going off. She was talking, and nothing got her in the chair. We had the main course on the table at the time. And of course, a child of 12 looking at steak and potatoes, they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah, so I looked at Justin, and I told the chef to put one of those desserts together real quickly. So it works for women, it'll work for anybody. So here comes the dessert, and we laid it on the tray, and said, "Hey Murphy, why don't you get in the chair? Basically, let's have some dessert." Mm-hmm. Couldn't get her to do it. But she didn't leave. She was interested enough. And, wondering what is going on in her life at 12 years old.
Sure.
With all these people sitting in the post office by the, no, not the post, the general store, having dinner.
Yeah.
She knows what dinner is.
Yep. Yeah.
And,
that would be, that'd be a tough one. That would be a tough one, because it's not geared for child ghosts. It's definitely geared for the adults. Mm-hmm. And to shift gears like you did, think on your feet. That was really something else. And before I let you guys out of here, we got to at least mention one thing. I see you guys have a radio show. Where does that happen? Where does that air? Where can people hear the show and hear more about you guys and your investigations and things such as that?
Well, with the radio show, we go ahead, Justin.
Oh yeah, we have what we call G-Tops Radio, which stands for Ghost Town Operations Radio. It is in podcast form. Right now, we're revamping how we share that particular radio show, so it's not on the air right now, but it will certainly be on the air. And if you go to our website, ghosttownooperations.com, you will be able to find a link eventually where you can listen to this weekly podcast. And the beauty about podcasts is it's not on the air. We don't press the FCC issues on the podcast, but sometimes when we share some audio that we've captured EVPs and such, it may slip into the, a little ridiculousness at times. But
well, that's okay.
So,
ridiculousness is my middle name.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
Well, that's very cool. And podcast has opened up a whole new avenue for radio because I'm a student of terrestrial. That is mainly where I cut my teeth, was terrestrial radio. And when podcasting came along, that was a big revolutionary step for radio, where it was on demand now. You can listen where you want, when you want. So that has been a beautiful thing. We've also taken advantage of the podcasting through many different venues, including iHeartRadio is on board of podcasting as well. So definitely. So if anyone that's interested, check out the radio show when you guys retool and come back. Retool, refuel, and come back at us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
now we have a couple.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
We have a couple events coming up too.
Yeah, I'd like to hear about that. That was going to be the very next piece of business here. What about these cool new events, and how can I be a part of it? More importantly.
Well, I mean, it's certainly if you get in an airplane, or you don't like to drive, so I don't recommend it. So we're doing the Bayou Mansion now. Bayou Mansion, it is what it is. It's a mansion in McMinnville, and it was owned by a gentleman by the name of White. And when he stood out on his patio in the top of this Robert E. Lee resembling home of Arlington, Virginia, he looked out onto his land, and he owned all the land all the way around as far as you can see and farther than that. So you got to imagine this thing sitting in the vineyards, and it sits on a golf course right now, and it's just stunning. And when you do a video, and you have not only the vineyards, the golf course, and this southern plantation home. Oh my God! With the pillars, and they don't normally. It's not open for. It was never open for ghost hunting. I don't know why. He died in it, and throughout history, he has interfered. They do weddings and events there. He interferes with the weddings and the events. So if somebody's getting married, he's grabbing at the bride, throwing dishes, and causing scenes. They shut it down for 2 years.
Wow.
They shut it down it was too much going on.
Jeez.
They calmed it down, reopened it recently. And a friend of mine, a neighbor here, said he's from that area, and they've reopened it. You guys need to go do that for Dinner with a Ghost. So I headed down there. Oh, my God. I walked in there. Done. Video. Done. It's, so next time we get together, or next time you go online, we go there next weekend. So it's going to happen quick. We're looking forward to it. Now, after, of course, that location, we're back at Gold Point, Nevada again. Gold Point.
Wow, very cool. Very cool. It sounds really awesome.
Eighth year. So, we're looking forward to that. We just got done in Las Vegas. We did the Red Fox home, and it was thoroughly interesting. But we're looking forward to do Dinner with Ghosts there. We did an investigation there. That's all we did. And we have some places lined up in the fall. So
how do you guys choose your venues?
It's funny that you would bring that up, because Justin and I have been really tightening up how we choose it. If you want to go to the let's say the Bayou Mansion, we have ways of detecting. Would you go there without Dinner with a Ghost? You as a person, would you go there just to look at it and do what you have to do? You have to be able to attract people. Yes. You have to have people come no matter what, whether Dinner with a Ghost is there or not. what draws people to these locations? We need to have a draw for dinner. We just can't say dinner with a ghost is going to be at, Joe Blow's place, and, we'd like everybody to show up.
Yeah, off Route 9. Yeah. Come visit us at Steve's place off Route 9. No one's going to show up.
That's right. That's right. Dogs and fries. You have to be able to put it in their mind, like dinner with a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Dinner with a ghost, what, immediate, what is that? Mm-hmm. So you have to draw the picture in their mind. And is that enough? And Jessica can tell you, just like I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the time. It's not enough. When they have to drive 3 hours, they have to have that trust. And it worked for Gold Point, Gold Field.
Mm-hmm.
But picking and choosing. We turned one down in Las Vegas at the Pioneer. It wasn't.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't made for us. It
John,
wasn't made for us.
A light bulb just went over my head. You need to go do Graceland. You need to go do Graceland. You know how easy that would be? Peanut butter and banana fried sandwiches.
Wait a minute. Now, we talked about the Presidents and Kings tour.
Sure.
Dare I say who the king is? Come on.
Yep.
Guys.
Oh, okay. So Elvis Presley. Gotcha. Yeah.
You already figured it out.
Yeah. Well,
Memphis and Tupelo.
Yeah.
Eric's working on that. So.
That would be pretty awesome to try to interact with Elvis Presley. That would be a shocker. And plus the food, we were saying, would be pretty easy.
Again, you look at what he was used to eating. What would draw him?
Mm-hmm.
Peanut butter and banana and marshmallow sandwiches, and cheeseburgers,
Little Debbie's, and all over there, all that good fare over there. Yeah, good stuff.
You still serve it. You still serve it with fine china and everything, and it's just like finger food on the plate.
Yeah.
You have the chef, fancying it away where it's going to sell itself. So, but you're absolutely right. Elvis would be incredible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It would be an incredible location.
It would be incredible, and there's a lot of places I could think of, and I'm sure Greg can, that, Dinner with a Ghost would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
It's that initial... go ahead.
No, but I was just going to say, because I'm looking on the site again, and I'm looking at the prices for doing this, and those are extremely reasonable prices to have what you're offering. It's pretty incredible.
It depends on the location now. Gold Point.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We do it once a year, as you know, to give them the money.
Mm-hmm.
Give them the money.
Mm-hmm.
So they're making money all the way around. So
yep.
It's about after 8 years they're our friends. We do it even if Justin, we don't really have we ever made money? Have we ever walked away with a dime out of there, Justin?
No, we have not.
Yeah.
No, we haven't.
We
because we donate 100% of anything that we do through ticket sales to the refurbishment of the town. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's something else. That all the proceeds that would be that are made above and beyond the overhead is given to the town. That's something else. I don't hear that
everything.
a lot.
No, we pay for it.
Oh, okay. So even the overhead, is taken care of. Gotcha. Wow. So that's something else. Now, have you guys ever considered doing large events like how a lot of Paracons are out there? Has anyone ever approached you guys to come to Dinner with the Ghost at a Paracon?
Justin, you're up.
We have been. We did do Las Vegas Paracon one year, but we haven't really. This is something that is just starting to steamroll for us as far as people knowing about it. So it's kind of hard to describe it to a Paracon, let's say in Chicago or something, about what we do, because most of the people, sadly, that know about Dinner with a Ghost, they live in the west side of the United States. So
gotcha.
A lot of these Paracons that happen in Kentucky and everywhere else that are incredible Paracons, we haven't been able to get the word to them what we're doing, but we hope to. So
maybe the show will help you. So if you are having a Paracon and you would like something different to bring, something no one else is doing, you couldn't do much better than Dinner with a Ghost.
I had when I developed this, I copyrighted it, and also copyrighted the concept with Hollywood. So nobody could take this. Nobody could touch it.
That's a good thing.
Belongs to. Oh, absolutely. It is tight. It is secured, and it is a business of giving. It truly is, and it's to the point when you guys see it, you'll have that shock and awe factor. Also, it's one thing to look at a picture, but to be there.
Well, there's plenty
to walk around.
I was thinking, Greg, the Palmer House would be a great place to do a dinner with a ghost.
Wouldn't that be something? That would be pretty amazing.
That's up here in Minnesota. There's really an active hotel, but it's a very nice hotel, and it's extremely active on its own. I couldn't imagine adding that kind of trigger item to what they would have served back when it was functioning as the Palmer House proper. The original run. That would have been something else.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. The place is beautiful, and so is the town it's in. And it would be quite the experience for sure.
Well, and that's exactly it. You want to have something that's going to attract them to the table. Besides, the grandeur of it, it's the menu. It's the menu.
Yeah.
It's what they're used to seeing. Where and you're talking a lot of different tastes out there between north and south and east and west.
Sure.
And then you add history. Then you add history into it, and all of a sudden, oh my God, why did they eat that? It's if you ever get a chance, even look at the Washington presidential cookbooks and stuff. Oh my God, I can't believe some of the stuff they ate.
Yeah, it's quite alarming sometimes. Well, we got 5 minutes left. Why don't you tell everyone how they can book their tickets? All that kind of good stuff. Get in contact, you guys. See what upcoming events are. All that stuff.
Well, with Gold Point, we have signed with Eventbrite.com, Dinner with a Ghost, and that's how they can, or they go on our site. Let's just leave it that way. Nobody's confused.
Sure.
Go on to www.ghosttownoperations.com. Click on the event button and order your tickets for Gold Point, Nevada. As far as if anybody wants to go to next week to a beautiful mansion in McMinnville, the Bayou Mansion, definitely go to ghosttownoverations.com and it'll tell you how to order your tickets for that one. So everything relates to the site, and for now on, after that, we will be strictly with Eventbrite. You get to the point, guys, where you need somebody to handle your ticket sales. And we chose Eventbrite.
Yep. It's always better to have that third party dealing with that end of things. So that's just one less thing, one less headache you have to deal with.
Well, it's clicky. You click on a button and there it goes.
Yep, of course. And that's just the best way to go about it. I've seen a lot more events going that way with firms handling that. So that's not uncommon. In fact, that is pretty much industry standard now. Now, of course, everyone can go to ghosttownoverations.com, and I would be remiss if we did not talk about the great co-host of tonight, Greg Bakun. And why don't you tell everyone about Minnesota Ghost Box quick again, where they can go see your videos?
Sure. You can go to YouTube, and we have our own channel, Minnesota Ghost Box Official, and we have all our videos there. And you can also check out other Spirit Box evidence that we have captured that's not in the web series over at www.mn-ghostbox.org. And there's a lot of stuff there, and you can get a hold of us there, or you can get a hold of me on Facebook, too.
Very, very cool. Again, Greg, thank you for coming on. Sitting in the co-host chair, it's been an honor, a privilege. And it's also been a lot of fun talking Dinner with a Ghost. But really, can you guys leave us with this? Has there been any skeptics that had left believers because of Dinner with the Ghost?
I would say a definitive yes. A definitive yes. I would say probably over the 12 years that we've been doing this, we've probably at least raised suspicions from skeptics, probably 80% of the time.
Well, it only takes one really good experience to turn that skeptic into a believer. And if
I'll tell you one quick one. One of the investors who's now working for one of our sponsors for Dinner with the Ghost, and he of course came to Dinner with the Ghost at Goldfield, Nevada. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, that night somebody actually sat down at the table. There's no way you can fake that. And all of a sudden, he went from a non-believer to, oh brother.
He turned as white as the ghost he was looking at.
No, he was very good about it. He pointed at what was going out to everybody, and everybody saw it. And he became a believer, and he preaches everywhere we go. I was there.
Well,
they sat down right there.
That is super cool, and I like hearing that when a skeptic is brought around to kind of see that there's a little more to the world than they realize. John and Justin, thank you so much for coming on. Again, you can go to ghosttownaoperations.com, check out Dinner with the Ghost, and of course, go to Minnesota Ghost Box. Check that out on YouTube. Watch the video. Watch as many times as you want, because guess what? It's free. And on behalf of myself, Joel Sturgis, of course, my great co-host, Greg Bakun, we'd like to thank you for listening to this show After Hours AM. Sadly, we come to another end of another week, but tune in next week where we have more madness for you, including more true crime. Thank you for listening to this edition of After Hours AM, and please remember to like us on Facebook and also follow us over on Twitter.